I really appreciate the soil's reliability, but my nation's location will soon become a liability. Wait a minute. Hello and welcome back to another Fortnite role-playing tutorial. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more Fortnite videos, and be sure to forgive me for my relatively infrequent uploads this summer. Now regarding that Saddam Hussein skin from last episode, I was thinking that the story of Poland begins with the massive influx of Slavic people to Europe from who knows whereistan towards the end of the Roman Empire. The Slavs that settled in what is today Poland spent the next couple hundred years plowing their dirt, getting sacked by the Huns, raising their children, burying their children, making cheese, dying from disease, all the stuff any other respectable Dark Age citizen would do. By the middle of the 10th century, the Prince Mieszko had more or less imposed his will on a state that actually resembles modern-day Poland. He had an army, collected taxes, invented gravity, maybe not the last one. He also served as the frontman in Poland's first encounter with one of their future arch-enemies, Germany. Now at this time, Germany was loosely united under the banner of the hysterically named Holy Roman Empire, but even though their name was totally stupid, they still felt the insatiable thirst for expansion through conquest. However, there was one super sneaky way that Mieszko could avoid war with the Germans. Convert to Christianity. So he got himself baptized, but he didn't really go out of his way to convert everyone else. This was basically the Dark Age equivalent of, "Oh no, don't give me a ticket, officer. I was only speeding because I was late to church on a Thursday."
I am the one, the way your son don't need a gun to get respect up on the street.
Some more random church stuff happened during the reign of Mieszko, but let's be honest, none of us really care. When Mieszko died, though, he was succeeded by his son, Bolesław the Brave. Bolesław was important because it was during his reign in the year 1000 that Poland was officially recognized as a state by the Pope and the Holy Roman Empire. Also important, in 1025 AD, Bolesław was crowned King of Poland. Before this, Poland was ruled by decidedly less cool princes or dukes, so this was a step up on the ladder of medieval diplomacy. Now, everything was sausage and pierogies for the next 100 years or so, but then this guy named Bolesław the Wrymouth came to power and decided to mess everything up! Speaking of which, tangent time! The Poles probably had some of the weirdest names for their kings. Here's a few examples. Bolesław the Forgotten, Władysław the Exile, Bolesław the Curly, Mieszko the Old, Leszek the White, Leszek the Black, Władysław the Elbow High, Władysław the Spindleshank, Mieszko the Tanglefoot, and Bolesław the Horned. But as soon as I name my firstborn son after the most delicious flavor of gravy, everyone thinks I'm disgusting! Anywho, Bolesław the Wrymouth decided that it would be a swell plan to split his kingdom into 5 separate duchies for each of his sons, even though according to my calculations, that has worked out pretty much never. And since I scored a 37 on the math section of my ACT, I was of course right, and the 5 brothers immediately started fighting each other. While the Poles were busy quarreling, the Germans were like, "Since the Poles are distracted with internal affairs, there's no way they'll notice me sneaking up on them by way of the back." "What you doing?" I'm invading you." "Oh, and I'm too weak to defend myself because I only represent a fraction of the Polish nation." "Oh, you're a sneaky little guy." During this period of needless squabbling, the Poles lost influence in quite a bit of their western territory. These areas would then become thoroughly Germanized and wouldn't be part of Poland again until after World War II. Also during this time, the Mongols decided to pay an unwelcome visit to Eastern Europe and thank their hosts with death, destruction, and a generation of starvation and poverty. Just what I wanted! But Connor, isn't there a happy ending? Oh, don't be silly, little Jimmy. This is Polish history. There's never a happy ending. That being said, Poland was then nuked and their football team never won a World Cup. The end. Except, that's not the end. I tricked you. I fooled you. You were deceived, duped, misinformed. I, Connor, Lord of History House Productions, have pulled off the greatest hoax of the second millennia. All remaining systems will bow to the First Order! What I'm trying to say is that this video actually does have a happy ending, and it's all thanks to two guys. In 1296, Władysław the Short inherited one of the southern areas of Poland, but was promptly forced to flee just a few years later when the Czechs invaded. Władysław spent a little time in Western Europe gathering allies and stuff, and then returned to Poland in force and kicked the Czechs out of his land. But he didn't stop there. He went right on to the other Polish provinces, and by the time of his death in 1333, Władysław had reunited the central Polish region. Yay, short people! Władysław's son was even cooler than he was. His name was Kazimierz, known today as either Kazimierz the Great or his internet alter ego, Kaz the Spaz. Now obviously Kazimierz was a pretty cool guy, but he was even luckier than he was cool. When he came to power in 1333, Western Europe was pretty involved, either directly or indirectly, in the 100 Years' War, so no one paid much attention to little old Poland. Also, while Southern Europe was suffering from the effects of a mini ice age, Poland's weather actually got warmer and crop yields and varieties were dramatically improved. Also, when the Black Death came sweeping through Europe in the late 1340s, it somehow pulled a history class and just forgot Poland existed. While the rest of Europe suffered a cataclysmic loss of life, Poland's population actually increased. With these conveniently timed events at his back, Kazimierz got to work, building a bunch of churches and canals and cities and walls and city walls and schools and castles, and also just kinda casually doubled the size of his country by diplomatically maneuvering himself into inheriting vast tracts of land in western Ukraine. And then he died without an heir, and the Poles had to start looking for, other solutions. Let me know in the comments if I should make a second part about the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, or if I should just move on to another topic. Thanks for watching!